Hello everyone, welcome back to this week's Technical Insights, where we give you a midweek updates of what is happening so far in the markets. US stocks closed lower for a second straight trading session on Tuesday after US President Donald Trump and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent provided little clarity to the timeline of any trade deal that is coming. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost nearly 390 points or 1% on Tuesday to finish at 40,829 points. The S&P 500 dropped 43 points or 0.77% to end at 5,606 points, while the Nasdaq Composite fell 154 points or 0.87% to finish at 17,689 points. Trump said his team and top administration officials will review potential trade deals over the next 2 weeks to decide which one to accept first, which countered earlier statements that his administration could announce some of the trade agreements as early as this week. Investors will also be watching closely Fed Chair Jerome Powell post-interest rate decision press conference tonight for insights about the path of the US interest rate and how the US tariffs could push the inflation higher amid the growing fears of the US economy tipping into a recession. On the earnings season so far, we saw stronger than expected earnings from Advanced Micro Devices, pushing the stock up nearly 2% on Tuesday. Constellation Energy jumped 10.3% at the best performer on the S&P 500 after its quarterly results helped lifted the utility sector up 1.2%. For the first 2 days of trading, the Dow fell by 1.18% and broad index S&P 500 lost 1.4%. Tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite Index tumbled 1.6% as we prepare for the Fed interest rate decision coming up tonight at US time 2 p.m. Back to Singapore, our STI index closed higher on Tuesday ahead of the US Fed interest rate decision. Markets are expecting the US Central Bank to keep interest rate unchanged as Fed Fund futures pricings are pricing in a likelihood of 97% chance that the central bank will hold the borrowing rate steady, according to the CME FedWatch 2. Our benchmark index advanced 0.25% or 7.3 points to end Tuesday at 3,860 points. The top gainer on the STI index was Singtel, which rose 1.6% or 6 cents to $3.87 on Tuesday. Yangzijiang Shipbuilding was the biggest loser on Tuesday for a second day in a row, and it was down 2.4% or 5 cents to close at $2.06. Price to note was Yangzijiang went ex-dividend on Monday, 5th of May. This morning, on Wednesday, we also saw UOB reported their first quarter result ending 31st March 2025. Net profit for the first quarter came in at 1.4 billion, relatively flat amid the broad-based growth, and largely unchanged from the net profit that we saw earlier in the first quarter of 2024 at 1.487 billion. The latest net profit figure was also lower and missed Bloomberg consensus forecast of 1.54 billion. The net profit was supported by broad-based income and franchise growth, as well as record fee income and higher trading and investment income. On a quarterly basis, the bank profit fell by 2% year-on-year from 1.52 billion. Looking at their net interest margin, it stood at 2%, down 0.02 percentage point year-on-year, but remained unchanged quarter-on-quarter. Loan books also managed to rise by 6% year-on-year and 1% quarter-on-quarter, thanks to wholesale growth and mortgages. UOB net fee income surged to a new high of 694 million, up 20% year-on-year and 22% quarter-on-quarter, due to record loan-related fees and healthy momentum in their wealth and credit card fees. Other non-interest income fell by 5% to 554 million from lower trading and investment income. Mr. Wee Ee Cheong, CEO and Deputy Chairman of UOB, noted that macroeconomic uncertainties from the US tariffs have triggered significant market volatility and disruption in global trades. He anticipates a slowdown in global growth in the near term and remain vigilant amid the uncertain global outlook. In his CEO remarks presentation, Mr. Wee said it will resume its 2025 guidance when the situation stabilizes and remains committed to its 3 billion capital distribution plan. So for this week's technical analysis, let's take a look at UOB. This Wednesday morning, UOB share price dropped by about 60 cents or 1.7% to around $34.38. Closer to the afternoon break, the price recovered to $34.49, down just 49 cents, after their latest earnings missed the Bloomberg consensus estimate. Net profit in the first quarter came in at 1.49 billion, lower than Bloomberg consensus estimate of 1.5 billion. Looking at UOB price chart, we noted that UOB share price year-to-date high was seen on 19th of February at $39.20, and the year-to-date low was seen on 7th of April at the $29 level. When the US tariff was announced in the early part of April, UOB share price dived a massive 23%, but year-to-date we have recovered about 21% from the low that we saw on 7th of April. UOB share price is currently hovering around the 20 days moving average, which is the white line that you see here, now at around $34.27. Immediate support level will come in at around the $33.38 level, which was a double top formation that we see in the July to September period last year. This level could have a change in polarity and become a support level for UOB share price going forward. The next support level could come in at the lower bound of the Bollinger Band, now at the $31.70 level. Immediate resistance can be seen at the blue line right here, which is the 50 days moving average at $36.28, with the next resistance level at the 100 days moving average, which is the amber line, now at $36.71, finding confluence close to the upper bound of the Bollinger Band at $36.83. Looking at the technical indicators, the MACD is now showing that the uptrend momentum or the uptrend rebound momentum that we saw since the low of April is subsiding or weakening, especially in the last 2 trading weeks. The latest reading on the RSI today on Wednesday is around the 43 points level, 7 points below the 50-point neutral mark, confirming that the uptrend momentum is still weak right now, and UOB share price is likely to trend downwards further. So for investors looking at UOB, it will be wise to wait for a further pullback, at least towards the $33.38 level here, before considering to accumulate UOB share price again. On the longer term, looking at 18 analysts covering UOB share price, 9 have a strong buy call, 2 have a buy call, and 7 have a hold call. There are no sell recommendations. The 12-month average target price among them is at $38.38, with a maximum estimate at $44 and a minimum estimate at $32.02. And these are the updates that I have for you this week. If you find the information useful, do remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with the latest market movement. And I'll see you again next week in the next Technical Insights.